Good morning. This is notes. It's going to be Unit 4, Day 3, and we're going to go over Unit 4, Day 4. Okay, because we're not going to have a special day just for congruent triangles. Just going to explain to you what that means. In order for triangles to be congruent, what this means is all of the sides are going to be equal in both triangles, and all of the angles are going to be equal. So you guys see this one little dash. This one is equal to this side with this one little dash. So corresponding sides are BA is congruent to RS. Do you guys see CB has 3 dashes, so that's going to be congruent to ST 3 dashes. CB is congruent to ST. And then also the red side, 2 dashes, CA is congruent to the red side, 3 dashes, RT. The corresponding angles are congruent. So we have one arc, A. Angle A is congruent to one arc, angle R. 2 arcs, angle B is congruent to the 2 arcs, angle S. And then I have that third one, angle C has 3 arcs, angle C is congruent to angle T. So congruent means that the measures are equal. Like if R is 30 degrees, then A is also 30 degrees. So triangle congruent statement, the order matters. Your order matters. Triangle A to B to C. If we start with A, the purple arc, or the one with one arc, in the next triangle, I have to start with the purple arc also. R, triangle, draw the triangle symbol, and then R. They want to B from A to B. The B is the one with the red arcs, or 2 arcs. Our red arc is S. RS, my last letter is going to have to be T. Now, if they put it in a different order, like they say start with C, and then go to A, and then B, they're telling you to put the next one in a different order. C is corresponding to T. Don't forget the triangle symbol, T. And then we went to A, that's corresponding to R. And then our last letter is S. We don't have a choice. I want you guys to try this one. Make sure it's in the same order. So we're going to just write the congruency statement. A is congruent to J. B has 2 arcs, so it's congruent to J, or K, sorry. And then C has 3 arcs, so it's congruent to L. And I like to color it because that way we can kind of like see the order easier. This one they didn't flip. Sometimes they like flip it, like this one's all in a different order. This one would probably be easier for you to do. Let's just try this one, it's harder. So A is congruent to D. Do you guys see like the right hand part of B has 3 arcs? So the left hand part of C has 3 arcs. That's blue. And then I'll do purple for the 2 arcs and 2 arcs. Alright, so we're going from A to B to C. From 1 arc to purple to blue. 1 arc is green. We have to start at D. And then they tell us to go to B, which is purple. So D to C. And then my last letter has to be B. So this is something that they would give us. It says, find the value of x if these triangles are congruent. Remember this congruency statement, the order matters. So A is equal in measure to D. A and D are equal. So if A is 57, then D is also 57, because the first one is equal to the first one. B is equal to, the second one is equal to the second one. B and E are equal. But B has a 90 and E has a 90. Perfect. And then also C and F are equal, but C doesn't have any information. F does. So I'm just going to actually like figure out this triangle. So let's find X. And I needed this information to be able to move the 57 over. And now I know that the angles in a triangle add up to be 180 from last class. So this is 57 plus. This box means 90. Please write it in there. Plus the 6x plus 3 equals 180. The angles in the triangle add up to be 180. 57 plus 90 plus 3 is equal to 150. So I have, okay, I did that. 90 plus 6x. I don't think it erased anything else. Okay. So just the numbers, I'm going to combine my like terms, right? So I have 6x plus 150 equals 180. And I'm going to subtract my 150 to move it to the other side. And I have 6x equals 30. Divide by 6, x equals 5. That's all they asked us. They didn't want us to plug it in or anything, because I could have done that too. Alright guys, so go ahead and try number 4. Pause the video and try it out. Ask me if you have any questions. Now, proving triangles are congruent. We can do this a shorter way other than showing that every single angle is congruent and every single side. We have these 5 ways. The first way we're going to learn today is side, 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 and then we're going to also learn side, angle, side. Next class or next notes, we're going to learn angle, side, angle, and angle, 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 side, and then hypotenuse leg is HL. I want to go over these with you, but I don't think we're going to have time on this video to go over every single thing. CPCTC means corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. So this is saying like angle A is the first one, so that's equal to the first one, which is D. B is the second one, so that's equal to the second one, which is congruent to the second one, which is E. And then you guys can figure out the rest. AB is the first and second. So side AB is going to be congruent to the first and second. Side DE, right? The sides are also congruent. Angles and the sides. Alright, now we're going to look at side, side, side today. So what this means is if they give you that BC is congruent to TH, that's a side, and they give you that AC is congruent to TR, because those have 2 dashes. 2 dashes are equal to 2 dashes. And they give you that BA is congruent to HR. Well, these are 3 sides. So I know that everything else about them is congruent. Angle B would be congruent to angle R. I could tell you that angle A is congruent to angle H, and I can tell you that angle C is equal or congruent to angle D. And I know this because we have proven that my triangles are congruent by side, 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 by showing me that these 3 sides are congruent to these 3 sides. So that's a side, side, and a side. My congruency statement, remember, order matters. So my triangle A to B to C. A is in between blue and purple. So blue and purple is R. B is in between purple and green. Purple and green is H. And then my last letter has to be T. Alright, we're going to actually go over our first proof today. I don't want you to be afraid. This is what we're going to always do. We're always going to start with what is given, and then you're going to always, my last statement is always going to be to write this in. We're going to prove that these triangles are congruent by either side, 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 angle, side, of one of those 5 ways we have to prove triangles are congruent. Right, so I know, given that this side is equal to this side because they have one little dash mark. They're giving us this information. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight these 2 sides and I'm going to write it in as a statement. AD is congruent to BC, and my reason is because it is given. You're always going to start with what is given. This is new for you. That's okay. Just follow along with me. Now, do you guys see that these sides have 2 dash marks? So we're going to say A to B is congruent to the one with 2 dash marks, D to C, because this is also given. Now, they didn't give us any other information, but I know that this side that they have in common if they have a side in common, the side you guys see that both triangles, the top triangle and the bottom triangle, are sharing the side DB. Now, if they're sharing something, either an angle or a side, we're going to say DB is congruent to DB, write it again. In both triangles, they're sharing the side, and the reason is going to be the reflexive property. This is something we're just going to have to learn. If you think about the mirror, you look at yourself in the mirror, that's your reflection. It's equal to your face. Well, this is the reflexive property. Whenever we say something is equal to itself, that's always going to be the reflexive property. Sometimes we'll use angles, sometimes it'll be a side. Now, my last statement is always going to be what I'm trying to prove. I'm just going to rewrite it in here. Go ahead and rewrite it. Triangle. I know my triangle ABD is congruent to the triangle CDB. And why? Why do I know these triangles are congruent? Because this side, and this side is congruent to this side, and this side. So my two triangles are congruent by side, side, side. You can put like postulate, side, 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 congruence. Okay? I'm just going to put side, side, side. S, S, S. Now, we're going to go over side angle side real quick. It says, recall that this included angle on A is included between this side BA and AC. My included angle is the one that they have in common, BA and AC. They both have letter A, so angle A is included. The included side would be between RS. It's included between angle S and angle R. So the included is the one in between. This is very important before we do this. So if they give you the information for this side equaling this side, right? That has one dash and one dash. So LN is congruent to ST. LN, ST. Okay. Then they give us this arc right here, that's angle N. Angle N is congruent to this arc right here. It has one arc, is angle T. Sorry, there should be a line above that. And they give us MN. You guys see there's two dashes right here. It's congruent to TR. Then I can tell you that the rest of the angles and this side is also congruent because these triangles are congruent. I need to write a congruency statement. Is there something over here? Okay, I thought there was something on here. So I need to write a congruency statement with this triangle M. LN is congruent to triangle. Remember, we have to keep it in the same order. M is blue and nothing. Blue and nothing is R. L is green and nothing. Green and nothing is S. And then they tell us to go to N, which is my red arc. My red arc is T. My two triangles are congruent. This is what a proof would look like. I'm always going to start with what is given. Remember, we always start with what is given. I'm given that this side, HI, I make it a side by putting a line above it, is congruent to the other side, JK. And how do we know this? I always know that it's because it's given. They have little arcs in there. All right. I'm also given that we have these like little arrows. This means that my lines are parallel. Okay. Well, I'm given HI is parallel. This is a symbol for parallel to JK. And this is also given. Right? We have given. The little arrows tell us that. Well, if these lines are parallel, then I know that these angles are congruent because they're alternating interior angles. If you want to like extend this line, it'll maybe make it more apparent. We learned this in chapter 3. So I know that angle I, but I can't just name it angle I. I've got to use 3 letters. So I'm going to use H, Angle HIJ is congruent to angle. This part of J, this angle right here, I need to use 3 letters. I'm going to say KJI, KJI. And my reason is that we know that they're parallel lines, so these are alternating interior angles. And I know alternating interior angles are congruent. Sorry, that's very bad at handwriting. Alternating interior angles are congruent. Now, I know one more thing. I need 3 things, always. And I know that this side, I have this angle. I'm going to look at this side right here. You guys see that they're sharing the side? And I'm just going to say that JI, that's this side, JI, is congruent to, rewrite it, JI. Both triangles are sharing this side, JI. That means that they're congruent in both triangles. And I know this because of the reflexive property. Just like you're looking at yourself in the mirror, the reflexive property proves that these sides are going to be congruent in both triangles. Now my last step is going to be to write in there what I'm trying to prove. And this is triangle HIJ, IJ is congruent to triangle KJI, and my reason is because there's a side, the very next angle, and the very next side. Or I have 2 sides and the angle in between it. So 2 S's and the angle is in between my 2 S's, SAS. And that's it. That's going to be a reason. I know this is going to take some getting used to. We don't expect you guys to understand this stuff like the very first minute. I want you guys to try these out. Try them. Highlight what is congruent. Write your congruency statement. Triangle KLM is congruent to triangle NMP. Why? Is it by, these are all going to be by side, 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 or side, angle, side. Tell me why that these are congruent. This is all I'm going to do today. If you have any questions, please ask. Have a wonderful day.